Good morning, everybody. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. That's okay, Laurel.
Yeah, absolutely. Morning, Matt.
Morning, Laurel. You okay? Yes.
Oh, yes.
So I think we've messaged on the weekend about kind of my lack of wanting to go on to doing some kind of conversion ads and whether or not to go to a low ticket offer or to straight to my low ticket membership. So I've watched a bit of the training, which I'm going to work through now, the troubleshooting one, which has been useful. I think because when I did my first launch back in October, it didn't go so well in terms of conversions. I kind of lost a bit of heart, but I think what I need to do is kind of get back on and do it again and run the numbers and see how I go, really.
Yep. So let me ask you this question, because this is where I'm trying to really get you guys confident in what you're doing, because here's the thing, and I think I told this to you in our conversation, is most people think ads are the hardest part. Guys, ads are just the beginning. Like, ads are actually the easiest part of the entire process. It is what ads are going to reveal about your offer that is going to be the biggest frustration and the biggest just the work to be done. So just so you guys know, you have to push through the ad part. And that is why I am always on you guys. Like, do you know your numbers? Do you know your numbers? Because if you're confident, and Matt, tell me about this. As you went through that troubleshooting training and you started to identify exactly what went wrong in that other campaign, didn't that give you just a little bit more confidence in, like, okay, now I actually know what I need to fix versus I don't know why my ads didn't work? And that's where I'm trying to get you guys to a point to where you're not afraid to launch ads, because you know those numbers and you know that, okay, if my campaign didn't work out, I know exactly whether it was my creative, whether it was my script, whether it was my offer itself. Like, having those numbers in your head and just having that confidence is going to help you be better at not being afraid of placing those ads. Because I will tell you this again, ads are the easiest part of the entire process. It's what's going to come after the ads that's going to be the real work.
Yeah, no, that's definitely right. Because I sold these kind of things to my email list of warm buyers, and they bought. So I thought, kind of, okay, put some ads on it, but then it really showed up that my sales page was not clear enough. I didn't get enough sales through that. So that was good. That was definitely useful.
Yep. One of the best things, and this is something that in my Lean on Laurel program that I work with all my students, is once we, like, one of the things that I did, like, over the last, I started beta testing something called Lean on Laurel, because I was seeing so many people get crippled when it came to actually launching their ads in the ads manager. And so what we did was, me and my team actually started taking care of the ads for people who are coming into the program, because we wanted to get them over that hump so that we could get to the part of what really needed to be fixed. Because most people, they don't realize that, like, they just keep delaying the launch of their ads because they're just scared of the ads manager. So we decided to take that on. And that was one of the things that we started seeing, was that most people didn't have an ad problem, they had more of an offer problem. And so here's what we do with that, is we actually do, I call it the Feedback Loom. And it's a version of a 5-minute test that I learned from one of my students, actually, who's a copywriter. His name is Eric. And what he actually does is he gets individual people in his clients' niches on a Zoom call, and it's called the 5-minute test. He shows it to them, lets them read through the sales page, and then asks them a series of questions. But he does it one-on-one. That could take up a lot of time. So that, while that process does work really, really well, and you have to have really thick skin for that to hear the feedback that's coming back. One of the ways that I was helping my students shortcut that process, I call it the Feedback Loom, whereas I take that same series of questions and I shoot it off to about 20-25 people who are in that ideal audience who have no idea who my student is at all. And I have them look over the sales page or a landing page. It works both ways. And I ask them a series of questions, and then I have them shoot me a Loom video answering those questions. Very, very powerful in understanding why people aren't converting. Because here's the thing. People are like, well, you need to validate your offer to your warm audience. Yes, you can validate it to your warm audience, but you can't test to a warm audience. That will give you that will give you wrong data. You need to do an ice cold test. That's going to give you the real data there. And so that, though, either one of those two methods, if you are having issues with your low ticket offer converting, do one of those two options.
Okay, how do I do that in terms of, so what, to get someone just to check it and do a 5-minute check and see what the offer is and see if it's clear? Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm. You ask them a series of questions. Like you can ask them, like, what is this offer? If you buy this, what are you getting in return? Like ask them everything that you would think would be helpful in order to get them to tell you everything of why. Like, it's so funny, like the Feedback Loom, we did this with one of my students, and one of the major things, and sometimes people won't buy for dumb reasons that you would never think of. Like I had one of my students, she had an offer for one of her bingeable authority offers, and we sent it off to 25 coaches and consultants, all varying from advanced to middle tier. And almost everyone was consistent that they didn't trust her because she was wearing a Boss Babe type t-shirt in her photo. Like I would have never thought that. I would have just been like, oh, this is like, her offer and everything was really cool, her copywriting, but they were like, she's just not trustworthy. And so what we did was we pulled that picture off and replaced it with a picture, with a video that showed her authority and her interaction of how on the fly she's good with students who ask her like questions about their business. But it's just little things that you would never think. You could have like the best copywriting, but if there's some type of creative on that page or social proof isn't dialed in, people won't buy. It's crazy, but you know, the market is super saturated in almost every niche now. So it's like, why should people trust you over all of the other offers that they're seeing?
Okay, cool. Because I've not, in terms of, well, I've got the low ticket so far. I've got either the workshop or I've got straight to membership, but also I've got a signature program that I've not sold or created yet. I've created the outline of it, but I don't want to spend ages creating a signature program without people that want to buy it. So,
don't create it till you sell it.
Yeah.
Sell it first. I did my very first like approach to my high ticket. That's now my Lean on Laurel program. 2.5 years ago, I sold it before I even created it. Because what's the point of creating something if people aren't going to buy it? So I did it live, and people like it. Like they like being a part of a beta test for a program because they get more time with you. It's at a lower cost price, and they get access to you that no one else would get access to in the program. Like when I first did my Lean on Laurel content, I did it every day for 45 days. I called it the 45-day Facebook Ads Accelerator. Every single morning, live class that my students freaking loved it. And they wanted me to do it again the next year.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Laurel.
We overcomplicate and overthink things. Like just do it. Just do it. Seriously. Like it's not going to be perfect. You're going to fuck up. Like 9 out of the 10 ads I launch are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But I place probably 30 to 35 ads a month. So I get a couple, 3 or 4 winners.
I think because I put so much effort into this one, what I should have done is did more volume, and rather than doing too much effort and one thinking that's giving me the golden shot, you know.
You put too much effort into what, a single ad?
Quite a lot of time into, yeah. And I think I should have spread out and had different creators.
Don't fall in love with any ads that you're going to do, because the one ad that you think is the best is going to most likely perform the worst. Yeah.
No, cool. Good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Miss Kim.
Hi, do you hear me?
I do. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah, I finally made it. Actually, I wanted to ask you if I could ask you a question about a webinar, and it's not ads related, so I don't know if I could come up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask me anything.
Okay, so the thing is, I do have a webinar, but it's not a webinar. It's only a video on a landing page after they opted in, and haven't really done anything with it. But so far, I sold a call with me because I'm not into those free calls. I'd rather prefer them to pay for it, and then I can deliver also the way I'm working. And this works really well because I also offer this via email and also via, in my Facebook group. So basically I'm not able to scale that, or I don't want to send them to this offer and then they have the appointment like 4 weeks later or so. So I was wondering what I could do so far. I do the webinar. It talks about the 5 steps to become a whatever woman. It's about love and relationship. But in the end, I just offer the call, the paid call with full money back guarantee. And I was wondering if I could talk about the program itself and also offer them already at some, I don't know, perhaps lower price point. I don't know, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so actually, I'll actually bring this up because I was actually working on this with some of my Lean on Laurel students. So we actually, this is what the funnel that I teach in Lean on Laurel looks like. This looks familiar, right? It's pretty much probably what your funnel looks like. Yes. Except right here, you probably have a sales page for a paid call versus just an application page.
Yes.
Yep. So see the way that we have it, like I don't like using webinar software because here's my thing. The more tools and the more software you add, the less reliable it becomes, right? Because because I don't know how many clients that I have spent money on running ads to a webinar and Webinar Jam somehow messes up, or the deadline funnel messes up. And so I whenever I teach my students, it's landing page and go directly to. So if you're worried about just having it play on the next page, I do that with all of my clients, because it takes away the risk of Webinar Jam not working, and I think more and more people are pretty sophisticated to the webinar model now. So when you put them in a waiting room and all of that fun stuff, it just doesn't have the same effect as it did 3 years ago. So here are the numbers that we go for. Now, ignore this stuff over here, because obviously you're getting paid calls. So obviously webinar to application might be a little bit less because it is a paid call. But the first thing that you want to track, and this is what we do not move forward until we're hitting these numbers with your ads. So are your ads for your webinar, are they hitting the benchmarks for this?
No, so far I don't do any ads on the webinar. I only sent them to email, but I did not send anybody to ads because I thought I would have to go through the webinar itself and change it. So yeah.
Why do you think you need to change it?
Because it's I do the paid call thing and I cannot take any more calls. So I was wondering if there was a way to sell something perhaps as a lower price point right away, for my mastermind.
You could sell things off of a webinar. You don't have to send people to a phone call. Just replace your paid call to with the sale and just change your sell in the webinar.
So would you, that was the main question. Would you offer then inside the webinar, speak about the program, and what would you offer them? Would you offer them just I don't know, whatever bonus or so the paid, what do you say? If you pay on 3 installments or so, and
all of those questions that you're asking me don't matter. If your offer just has to be on point and you have to get people to say I want that. Bonuses and all of that, that's just lagniappe. That's something extra. If you just put together an awesome offer. Now here's the thing, and that's why it's good that you're taking calls. You're going to have to bake in some of those objections. And this is why I always have my clients take phone calls. So you did it in the right order, because a lot of my clients, they're like, I don't want to do phone calls. I'm like, trust me, do phone calls for the first 20 sales, because we want to hear those objections. We want to hear the real issues that people are having so that we can, and this is where you are, Kim. So you're going to want to take all of those objections, all of those questions that people had on the phone. You're going to want to bake those into your webinar.
Now,
right?
Basically,
you want to plug those black holes that your webinar might have, because you're not going to be selling it over the phone. It's easy to sell stuff over the phone. It's much harder to sell a high ticket program with a sales page and with a webinar. So you're going to want to hopefully you were taking notes on those calls of everything that people were asking and what their objections were, because you're going to want to change the end of your webinar. When you're presenting your program, you're going to want to bake in those objections and have any social proof to any of those questions that people might have had on the phone. Does that make sense?
Totally, but it's only the price. Before, they always wanted to have that when I was selling it on the phone.
Were you able to work through the price objection over the phone?
Well, before I just let them decide what they wanted, and I'm not somebody who closes on the phone. Just tell them if they want to come back within 1 week, then they get it or not. And basically, yeah, I know how to handle those objections, but I find it harder to, yeah, of course I can tell them, well, working with me is much higher, and why don't, if they come in the group program, I could still offer them the same. Well, okay, I understand that, but the basic question is, so I could change it, talking about my program, going through objections, and then.
Well, your webinar, you don't want to change your webinar. You just want to change the close.
Yes, that's the thing.
Okay.
And is there a price point you would say you would do max? If it was
you're asking questions that don't matter. Like price doesn't matter. Bonuses don't matter. It all matters about the offer. Is someone willing to pay what you're offering by the end of that webinar? That's all that matters. All of the other stuff is just extra.
Okay. No, I was just asking because other people say, oh, you can only buy this until, I don't know, until 2,000 euros or so.
Yeah, that's fine. You can have deadlines, but here I don't put deadlines or anything. Like if I'm just trying to sell the offer and I'm testing, all I want is people to buy the darn thing, right? And so I don't get fancy at all. Like I'm just like, you either want this offer or you don't. You're gonna have some they're gonna get retargeting ads, they're gonna get emails. But we have to make sure that people are saying, yes, I want that offer after that webinar. If not, we need to keep going back and fixing that webinar.
Okay, I understand.
Right? Because if we go back here, right, the next part of this is that we want, like, if people aren't watching, if 40% of the people who are opting in aren't watching that webinar, then the next thing is like, where is the average watch time? Where are they dropping in that webinar? But we want at least like everyone who's opting in to watch at least 40%. Like we want 40% of the people who opt in to at least watch the webinar.
Okay, full.
Yep.
And
because it's like, and that's why you want to do it in that order, because a lot of times people want to change their webinar. I'm like, people aren't even watching your webinar. So let's fix the thing that's going to get people to watch it before fixing the webinar. But so those are the things that you're going to want to measure. Or 40% of the people who are opting in, are they viewing the webinar? Okay, once 40% of the people who are opting in are viewing the webinar, the next KPI that you're going to go to is, what is my average watch time? Are people who are watching the webinar even getting to the close? Or are they dropping off first? Then out of how many people who, watch the whole webinar, how many people are going to the sales page? Those are the three major benchmarks that we measure with webinars.
Thanks a lot. And you check this on YouTube, right?
I use YouTube for my, a lot of my clients probably, I think they use Vimeo to track the watch times. I like YouTube because I like the retargeting capabilities that I can retarget them with YouTube ads.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. Bye. Great stuff, Kim. Miss Phyllis.
Hi, I'm not really camera ready, so
I'm never camera ready, but yeah, you look cute. You're
I had to put a hat on and everything.
Girl, please.
So my question is about my lead ad, and I'm not certain if this is the right format for it. I assume it is.
Absolutely.
If it's not, let me know. Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea, it's a free meal plan. And the idea was to then I have it where they have to put their phone number in. So I'm going to call them this week to move them into my nutrition program. I wanted to make sure, one, the ad is what your thoughts were on the conversion. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Have you gone through the troubleshooting training yet?
I don't know where that is. So I'm just coming back, as you probably remember.
Yeah, definitely. Let me point you in that direction, because that is going to be, so if you go to ad strategies, you're doing lead generation right here. And then, so what you're going to want to do is watch this troubleshooting video, because check this out. this troubleshooting checklist, look at this. If I'm getting 0 leads, here's the first thing I have to check. Check number 2, check number 3. I've laid out all of this stuff. So this is gonna be like your cheat sheet. We'll take a look at your ad here in a second, but just know, guys, like, because a lot of people don't realize, like, I have all of these cheat sheets and checklists for you guys so that it makes it super, super easy to be able to troubleshoot your ads.
Okay. I'm writing that down.
But yeah, if you want to crack open your ads manager, we can talk about it.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's this one. So it says I have 28 leads. It's got 1,331 reach, 1,618 impressions. All of this is Greek to me. $2.19 a lead.
Do you know have you done the calculator exercise yet?
I'm assuming that's somewhere I haven't looked yet. The calculator exercise.
Yeah, so check this out. I'll actually do it with you. Because I think just repetitive, like us doing it, I think helps more and more people. So here's the 5 magic numbers you need to know before you launch your ads. If anyone's launching any ads without doing this calculator exercise, you're doing it all wrong. You're setting yourself up to fail. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, so it's a little spreadsheet. You're only gonna want to change the stuff that's in blue, and you're always gonna want to highlight and then go change stuff up here. So how much is your offer?
It's free. It's a free meal plan.
But how much is your offer on the back end?
There isn't an offer on the back end. That's what I mean. So the idea
whoa. What are you selling?
Eventually, so the idea is to get them into my CRM and then call them and try to get them into my nutrition program.
Right, but how much is your nutrition program?
Well, the low ticket one is $45 a month, but it goes up to $175 a month.
Okay, so it's $175 a month. How many people are in that program right now?
0.
Okay. So
a lot of broken stuff right here.
That's okay. That's okay. That's why we have these calls. So it's 175. So yeah. I'm gonna show you, like, okay, so let's say they stay 1 month. Let's just worst case scenario. Okay. Your average cost per lead, what was that? $2.30 or something like that?
$2.19.
Yeah, that's even cheaper. Okay. So why are we talking about lead costs? Okay, because this is where people are like, this is why this is important. Look at this. If only 2%, which, by the way, if it's 175 and you're talking to them over the phone, you're probably going to have more of a 10% conversion rate. Look at this. Even if you pay $2.30, you're still profitable, as long as you can do your due diligence over the phone. So there's nothing wrong with your ads. You're doing good. Like, scale the heck out of them and get as many phone calls as possible. That way, you know what this average sales conversion is, because then if you talk to enough people over the phone, because watch how this works. Okay, let's say you're talking to people over the phone, you're selling them into something that's 175. Let's say, how long do you want people to stay?
6 months. I don't give them, they don't have a month-to-month option. It's a 6-month program period.
Oh, okay. So the average is 10. Okay, this is going to make it so much better. So the average is 175 times 6, 1050. Okay, so average card is not 175, it's 1050, because you're making them sign at 6. Girl, if you can make this happen, like, look at this. Like, if you can get 10% of them over the phone, let's just even say, like, let's say that you suck at phone sales. You're still freaking super profitable.
Right.
And we're sitting here talking, but you see why nothing's wrong with, what did I say at the beginning of this, like, call? Most people think it's their ads. It's like it's the process that happens after. And you're sitting here thinking, like, getting stressed out, thinking that there's something wrong with your ads. Look at this. Like, look, the numbers say you're, like, way in the right direction. You're in a good position.
Provided I close them.
That you close them, but that becomes not an ad problem, right? That becomes, okay, I need to hop on a call with Laurel for the next conversions over coffee and talk about why I'm not closing people over the phone.
Right. So, I'm really hesitant to call these people. I don't know why. They gave your phone number, so it's like you've opened the door, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. One of the things that we want to do, and I like the way that you're trying this first and I'll tell you, like, one of my Lean on Laurel students, she has a $37 a month program. And she actually did this route because she did it for songwriters, but it was more kind of like a spiritual kind of thing and like healing. And so it was a very unique offer. She did exactly, instead of going straight to the $37 a month sales page, she was like, Laurel, I'm okay hopping on a call with people just to kind of see their feelings about the offer and stuff like that. And she started selling her $37 a month membership over the phone, so that when we built her sales page, we built it based on what people had told her that they wanted over the phone. So I think that you starting over the phone, I think is a great approach, because, and don't be scared to talk to people. Just say, hey, like, even if after, like, here, I'll actually God, I wish I had it handy right now. I'd have to look for it. I think, like, you should send them, like, after they send you a lead magnet, send them some type of either training or some type of like digital brochure that walks them through what your program's like, get some results and everything. I'm going to see if I can find it for you. And I'll send it to you, because I know, I think I'll actually just post it probably in the program. I'll see if I can find Dan Henry's brochure. He just did it really, really well, because I went on, I did one of his millionaire cruises last year. And right after I booked the call, they sent me like this very beautiful brochure that had his webinar on it and all of this stuff. And I was like, and so I started giving it to some of my clients who have a webinar, like, so they send it after the call. So that way people are going to expect you to be calling them, and they're already going to have an idea of who you are, who you help, and the price point of your offer.
Oh, okay. So my thought process in doing it this way was kind of like your one of your videos says the fastest path to cash is the conversations or the relationship. So I was like, so I was like, well, if I get them on the phone, and the idea was actually to bring them into the low ticket offer first, the $45 a month. And then as they're going through that, if they start to struggle, that's when I say, okay, it's time for us to dig deeper and move into something more personalized. So that was kind of my thought process. So I was thinking, is the 28, you think the 28 leads at 219 is fine? It's the real question is going to be how many I convert on the phone.
Yep. So, and if you're like, I'm not converting, like, if you feel like, okay, you know what, people aren't answering my calls, people aren't doing this, because there's a big chance that might happen. What we're going to do is we're going to create a lead magnet that's going to go from lead magnet to application for them to book a call. Because if someone books a call, you're still going to have a 30 to probably 40% not show up right. That's industry standard for the fitness niche. So that's what you're going to want to make sure that you're tracking is like, okay, are people ghosting me? They're not answering my phone. Because because you are doing like the hard sales tactic of calling people that haven't been.
Yeah.
So but you know what? That's worked for how many years? It's still works. People cold call. Like I buy those little $37 programs from like all of these big gurus just to kind of see, and they call me like their salespeople call me all the time and stuff like that.
Like, so it's Grant Cardone.
Yeah, it still works, like, so people are still cold call, like, it's not quite cold calling, but but it's still working. And so I would say, let's start there, Phyllis. And then if you have an issue on the next call, so call everyone that you have right now. And then on every third Thursday, we have this call at 3:00 in the afternoon. Let's fix whatever is wrong with that. And maybe we might need to just change the funnel flow of it, but you're on the right track.
Right. So real quick, there is a kind of a method to my madness. So once they get the free meal plan, they get, because I nurture my email list. So they get recipes, they get weight loss tips. So they've kind of seen, and there's a soft offer as well. So there's an opportunity to book a call. So there's other stuff in that flow where they're just not like, okay, like I'm trying to give value before I even reach out to them.
Yep. That's perfect. I was going to say, because like, continue to build that list. You're getting them for $2.18. Like there are other email campaigns. I've got a Be Helpful campaign. We've got a 9-word email campaign. We've got the Cash Flow Now email campaign. There are so many things that we can do. And the fact that you're doing it through Facebook versus an outsourced landing page, we can retarget everyone who's became a lead on your lead form with a re-engagement Facebook ad campaign, which is going to be soon. Once you have 500 leads, that's going to be the next step. But right now, let's see if we have any like lowest hanging fruit, calling them over the phone and saying, hey, and just talking to them and talking it out. Let's see if we can get you some quick wins. If not, we'll just have to put a step between you and that phone call.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep, you're very welcome. Miss Marie.
Hi, Laurel. Thank you for your time.
Oh my gosh, of course.
So I have a couple questions. One is really quick. At the top of your e-commerce strategy page, it says that there's a course that you recommend.
Yep.
And I was wondering what that is.
Yep. Deepesh Mandalia.
Okay.
He has the BMP method for e-commerce. It's really, really good. Their testing is very, very sophisticated. It costs a lot too, the test method, but it's very advanced. But mine's like the preschool version of what he does.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I just had one more quick one, if you don't mind.
Oh my gosh, no, yeah. Hey, you have the floor right now. Ask me whatever.
So obviously I'm in the e-com space. I just have a little apparel brand. And
perfect. That's where me and my wife started. So,
which is one of the reasons I signed up. I was like, oh my gosh, she knows exactly where I am. She knows what it's like. So I've been testing ads and I'm finally breaking even. It's taken me a little longer in the testing phase than I thought it would, just like building up social proof and that kind of thing seems to really help with the ads. But it's not going beyond breaking even quite yet. And
okay. What is your return on ad spend? Is it just like that's it?
It's like 2x-ish, maybe like a little bit less depending on the time of year, because like Valentine's Day right now.
I would start scaling at 1.5.
Okay, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Just
Yep.
because like in terms of just like my back end costs and stuff like that, and then how much each sale is costing me.
So that means that you need to increase your cart value.
Okay, right. And will that commerce course that you recommend help me do that? I've been working on slightly higher value products and stuff like that, but
so that's an e-commerce ad program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember I went through it like 3 years ago. I'm not sure. I don't remember if there being an increasing cart value. What kind of t-shirts do you sell?
So I'm doing just like high-end stuff, but it's all kind of fandom based. So it's all for people who like certain shows or certain books or that kind of thing.
I love that.
And I've just been trying to encourage people more towards like hoodies and sweatshirts because this time of year it's cold and obviously those are higher value too. So my cart right now is hovering around like 55. I'm trying to get it up to like 87. So like a sweatshirt.
Yes, I was gonna say, here's the thing. If your average cart value is not at least $77 to $82, Facebook ads is not, because of the rising cost. I've been telling people if you can't get your average cart value to between 77 to 82, and that's not an absolute, like the area is gray, obviously. But on average, I tell people at least have a cart value of $70 to $82, unless you have like a recurring lifetime value on your customers.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm a new brand. I've only been doing this for like 6 months. So we have had I think I have like a 4% return customer rate. So it's just still really new to see what their overall LTV is.
Is there a way that you can put together some type of like recurring offer?
I've seen other people do like monthly subscriptions for like, oh, this new design, this new shirt, or like we're doing this on, a sweatshirt and it wasn't before, kind of a thing for each month. But I haven't gotten that far. We're still so new that I'm just kind of like swamped with all the ad stuff right now.
Yeah, that would be my don't get swamped because you're doing fine. Like you're doing like average with the ads. Like you're not hurting.
Okay.
If your ads are converting as well as they are, you don't have an ad problem. You have we need to increase the cart value.
Okay.
Problem. And so I would think of like, do you have a mentor in the t-shirt kind of space?
No, not really.
I'm gonna try to think of like someone who's in that space. Like, cause that was one of the things, like if like my wife and I's first business of the t-shirts, like if this, like, did you ever hear the story of how I actually got into this? It started with the t-shirt business. Like I met my wife and she was like, I've always wanted a t-shirt company. And I was a bicyclist. Like I rode my bike everywhere. I lived in Seattle, Phoenix, all bicycle, right? Because you don't want to own a car in a big city. And I would always complain. I'm like, man, there's always these unisex shirts. Like there's never any cute women bicyclist shirts or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so when she came up with that idea, I was like, well, I'll do the ads, because I was doing ads for TV shows, right? I worked for CBS. And so I started doing the ads, and then we saw an ad for Damon John. They were doing like this entrepreneur thing. And I was like, well, if we're going to go into the t-shirt business, let's go to this Damon John thing. And we went to this Damon John thing, and they were like, why are we talking about t-shirts? He's like, do you know how much money you could make if you opened an agency? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, but that's how that's literally how this business started, was because my wife wanted to do t-shirts. So like if this wouldn't have taken off, my next step would have been to create some type of subscription box for like a bicycle t-shirt of the month kind of club, where we would send one, every month for like, $25 or something like that. So I would start just kind of thinking like, what kind of like, whether it's like a reoccurring thing, or whether it's like BOGO, whether it's, some stuff to like increase that cart value, even just by a little bit. Cause you said you're what, at 50 something average cart value right now? Yeah. You don't have far to go. You're just one item away from being able to be, pretty profitable with that.
It is. And I've been targeting, higher end people who, people who are willing to pay, $30, $35 for a t-shirt. And it's been slowly increasing over time. I was just worried that I had someone else tell me that if you couldn't get like a 4x return to a cold audience, that it was a product that people weren't interested in, and you should like try something else because you couldn't scale into it. And so before I started scaling, I was like, ask Laurel.
Yeah, well, see, that's how you can get a 4x, is because you can you could either one, get more people to buy it at a lower price, or you could increase the cart value.
Okay, got it.
I would probably start with your lowest hanging fruit, which is increasing the cart value. You're already getting people to pull out their credit card. What's one other thing that we can get them to buy to increase that cart value?
Okay, got it. Is there any truth to that idea that if you're not, if your ad isn't profitable within like, 5 days, like it's not something that people are going to buy on Facebook? I'm only using.
I don't go by days, because think about this. If someone's spending $10 a day versus someone spending $100 a day, then 5 days doesn't matter, right? So it's all about like the impressions. Like this is what are you paying to acquire a customer right now?
I have the ad set just at $20 a day, because that's what I can afford.
But what are you paying? You're paying.
Oh, my cost, it's only like $5 or $6, depending on what ad I'm
per customer.
Yeah, per sale.
Wow. And you're selling them, so you must have a good return. You must have a better return, right?
It's only just ticked up to that in the last little while. So I mean, okay. but my CTR has been good the whole time. Yeah.
So typically, here's what we do. We do 3 times acquisition costs until I'll turn off an ad. Okay. So let's say like I'm, but $5 purchase, that's awesome. Like,
okay. Shit. So at like the 20 a day, right, you'd run it for like $60, $80 at the most to like see if it was going to work. Okay.
Yeah. And whatever your average acquisition cost is, because you just said you just started $5. And then have you ever set like tried manual bidding?
No, it looks terrifying in the ads manager.
Yeah. So. It's a little bit more advanced, but it works well. Like because I treat my $7 offer as an ecom product, right? Because it's the same price point as an ecom. Like low ticket offers in ecom, you run the ads the exact same way. Like I would, it doesn't matter digital or physical. But you're in a good spot. I do think though, working with Deepash would, especially where you are, like I think would be a good investment.
Okay, awesome.
It wouldn't hurt to book a call with this team.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Laurel.
Oh my gosh, you're very welcome. I any excuse to talk ecom. A lot of people don't think that this program's for ecom. I'm like, we can get you to where you need to be before you need to scale. So
that's all I need. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Joe.
Hey, so I was the person who asked about a $7 a month membership and a 6% conversion rate. And you said I should jump on to you wanted to hear a bit more about the strategy.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to wrap things up with Joe, because I got a hard stop at 8:55, but we'll leave some room, because I figure me and Joe will probably need a couple of minutes to jam on this. So yeah, so tell me about, let's start with like your overall funnel flow. What does that look like?
Well, I started with my signature program, And the pricing now is at between $800 to $1,200, depending on the exchange rate, because mostly I'm targeting local. I'm in South Africa.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, between 2017 and 2019, my conversion rate on that was 1%.
Okay.
And I got really deflated because all the teachers I was working with were telling me it needed to be a lot higher. It should be a lot higher.
Remind me the price point again. Sorry, I took bad notes just now.
Well, in 2017 it was $500.
Okay.
But actually for South Africans it would have been about $300.
Okay.
And then by the time COVID came, it was up to around $1,000. If US people were asking me, I would have said $1,000. But for South Africans, it's very hard to. Our exchange rate goes up and down all the time.
Yeah.
And then when COVID hit, I just burnt out and I stopped selling. And I still had to provide, though, for the people who had bought. And I started to do community sessions because people needed a lot of support, quite similar to these conversations. And I didn't really say much. I would just facilitate them connecting. And then I joined your program. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting because you offer so much value for $7 a month. And I was already providing extra value that people had not paid for. And I thought, I've got this program that used to be my 5-day challenge. I took it and I turned it into a more substantial training and then offered these twice a month sessions. And I said, I could do a $7 a month program. And I only sold it over a 2-month period, but the conversion rate was 6%. And I had really expected more. So I had this
6% to cold traffic or 6%
to warm, to organic traffic.
Oh yeah, you want
so 1% on my signature program was to cold traffic. 6% on my low ticket was to warm traffic.
And how well does your $7? Have you converted any from your $7 to your higher ticket?
Well, I had 15 people buy and 1 person converted. And I didn't really try to sell it. I put a hold on it. And she just, in fact, they sold it to her. So my other people, my students sold it to her. So part of the plan had been that it's easier for me to sell within that membership program because I'm in the relationship and emotional healing space. So the trust levels need to be quite high.
Yep.
And it's not the kind of skill stuff that I'm working with, it's with trauma. So I found it often takes people about a year to buy into me. It's a long turnaround time.
It is. And that's why I'm always hesitant because like the $7 program, the reason that I'm able to like be here and like show up and, provide a lot of value is because my other 2 higher ticketed stuff is full. They stay full, right? So, and this program dumps people into my Lean on Laurel. Like, that's why I don't have to really promote my Lean on Laurel much because this program automatically ascends people there when they're ready. My one worry about when people tell me they want to start a $7 a month program is they see like what I'm doing or what anyone else is doing, but I got here, like this program's been running for 3 years. And the first year we stayed around like 400 people and I got all of those people organically, but I was converting this at 74% organically. Right. So almost everyone that I talk to, if I get them in Messenger now, they're coming into the program. Like now I just don't have time to sit now and do organic. So I'm using ads. And so we spent last year to get 1,000 people in, we spent like $27,000 to get 1,000 people into the program, which is a great ROI, right? But I just want to be transparent about the way that we built this so that people can make this decision for themselves, whether or not it's something that they want to get into. But there's some good things that what you just told me. You told me that 15 people bought the $7 and 1 of them already bought the higher ticket.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. So my next question is, do you have the cash flow and the patience to slowly build up the $7 program?
I have the patience. I don't have the cash flow. I think I'm not sure what it really takes to do it organically first, and then. I mean, I know you spoke about going live every day. So I think that's part of the difficulty with my decision. I've gone back and forth with so many. What I've done is like I've built a funnel and then destroyed it and started all over again. And I exhausted myself. I haven't rinsed and repeated things. So I don't know whether to go back to my signature offer and make that successful first.
So this is the way that I teach my students to do, is I invert the funnel. What is the offer that's going to give you the cash flow? Because the $7 offer is what allowed me to scale.
Right.
The $7 offer is the last thing I created. The first thing was my agency. Then I was like, well, I can't take more agency clients, so I'm just going to record what I do for my agency clients and teach other people how to do it themselves. And then I'm like, well, now this higher ticket's full. Let me create something that's super low ticket, because I have all these cheat sheets and all. I built the $7 program through those live videos and giving away those cheat sheets. So by the time I launched this, I didn't have to build anything. I just went and downloaded all my Facebook Lives, organized them, and added cheat sheets. And since then, the $7 program has changed. I created new content and all that stuff, but it was only because I had the room and the cash flow to scale to where we are now versus where I was at the beginning. I had a lot. I hate to say I didn't have a lot of time. I had a full-time job whenever I launched my $7 program. So it wasn't easy, but it looks easier now because we've optimized it so much, but it is a lot. It was a lot of work for the first year and a half.
Okay. So
I did more work in my $7 than I did in my higher ticket.
Okay. So in other words, that I have a higher chance with going back to my signature program.
What's your signature funnel look like?
It was a free ebook leading people into a webinar, and then selling inside the webinar. And at the moment, I'm working with Wake Up Freedom on the mini workshop model, which is more in line with me than a webinar, because the interactiveness of a workshop works better for me.
Right, but can you get the amount of traffic that so here's where we have to look at the numbers, right? So I'll give you an example. So one of my Lean on Laurel students, and I am an advocate for Wake Up to Freedom. Like you guys, I'm in the program. Like I am huge into what they do with the mini workshops. Here's where the numbers have to make sense, okay? Because if you need cash flow, a mini workshop is not the route to go. If if you want cash flow, right? Because think about this: if you're gonna spend the time to get people to a paid workshop, it's going to be a lot more energy, right? If you do the numbers, like think about this. So let's say, how can I put that? I actually did a YouTube video on this. It's in the for any of you guys, go watch it after this class. It's in the frequently asked questions on my YouTube channel. A student asked me the question, should he do a paid workshop versus a webinar? And I actually broke down the numbers. But think about this. Let's say like you need 1,000 people to watch your webinar, right? You need 1,000 people to watch your webinar because your webinar converts people to your next offer. I think she froze. Are you still here, Joe? Oh no, Joe froze. Let's see if she comes back. Oh no. Anyone have any quick questions until Joe comes back?
I do.
Yeah, what's up, Juan?
Hey, Laurel, how you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing good.
Nice. For the ping pong strategy, thanks for the instruction, man. It's awesome with the copywriting and everything too. What if I do like can I do 5 of them, or should I restrict to only 3?
Oh, you could do 5.
Yeah, okay. Some videos I have, maybe like I have one video that's about 20 minutes long, another one's like 10 minutes, another one's like
okay? No, you want power content to be 3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes, okay.
Yeah, because remember, these videos are for cold traffic. So a more advanced strategy So in my audience builder that I have in Lean on Laurel, I'll just give you kind of a sneak peek of what that looks like. So in Lean on Laurel, I have them build their power content, and they do the ping pong strategy. So we call that tier 1 power content. Now what we do is have tier 2 content that is the longer form. So the 10-minute, the 20-minute. And so we're using the top power content ping pong strategy to bring people into our ecosystem. And then they have longer form videos to watch at the second tier. And the second tier, if they watch 25% or more, it brings them into getting our hot 7 and all of the other retargeting ads. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. For the first tier, you still have the so say for example, three videos, 5 minutes each, and then you ping pong them in level 2, and then for tier 2,
I don't ping pong them in level 2. I only ping pong them in level 1. So if they watch any video 25%, they get level
ping pong,
the tier 2.
Got it. Okay.
And then the tier 2 videos have an offer at the end of the video.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a great question. So Miss Joe, I was hoping you'd come back. Yeah, you froze there for a minute. So think about this, right? Let's say that you need 1,000 people to watch your webinar or workshop. Webinar, workshop, they're the same thing, right? And you need 10 sales, right? Which do you think it would be easier if you need cash flow and you need to sell that higher ticketed offer? Do you think it would be worth your time to try to get people to pay to watch that workshop? Or would it be easier to get 1,000 people to watch your webinar for free? That way more people would see your offer.
Yeah.
So that's the way that that I always explain it to people. Like, mini workshops are awesome. I think that mini workshops are awesome in the scale phase versus the cash flow phase.
Right.
Like, I think they work great for people who want to launch like more hobby kind of like thing. Like, I want to see if some people are going to buy this or whatever. But like, if you're running a business and you need cash flow, low ticket is like the last thing that you need to be worried about. You need to be worried about selling that signature offer. And therefore you need more eyeballs on that signature offer. Okay. So I like to push for volume when you need cash flow. And then when you're ready to scale, that's where you could start making people pay for the content within a longer form webinar.
Would I be going direct with the webinar or / free workshop, or doing what I was doing before, which is a lead magnet into my welcome sequence and then putting people into the workshop from there? Yep,
absolutely. So here's what I do for my clients. If I have an agency client or a Lean on Laurel student that comes in the program, we eliminate the ebook, because if they need cash flow, right, an ebook is a marketing tool, not a sales tool. Right. There are two different types. Think about this. There are two different types of funnels. There's a marketing funnel and a sales funnel. Ebooks are for marketing. Ebooks are for scaling and building your list. A sales funnel with a webinar gets people to buy. So that's why there's two different types of funnels. And so we have to decide, is our market sophisticated? Like, because there are 2 to 3% of people who are willing to buy right now what Joe wants, like right here. Right. So we use a mini webinar to talk directly to those people. There's a whole bigger audience of people who aren't that sophisticated, and you can get them to get an ebook and you can get them to watch a longer form webinar, but they're going to take longer to convert versus the people that you're like, hey, if I offer to do this with you for the next several weeks, would you take me up on that offer? The cost per lead is higher, but they're higher quality. That's why, like, if my clients are going for cash flow, I always I help them build a mini webinar, because that'll give you the fastest cash flow. Okay. But if they're wanting, so you have to determine, one, am I in a sales phase or am I in a marketing phase? We build sales funnels for cash flow.
Yeah, sales phase. I'm in a sales phase.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. And it's super easy here. I'll actually show you what, I'll actually just show you guys. You guys want to see the format that I use?
Format for which one?
For the mini webinars that I do for my clients. Super easy. They're 10 to 15 minutes long. I like to call them clarity pieces instead of webinars, because what is the one reason that people don't move forward is they lack clarity, right? So I'm gonna go over this real quick because I got to go in here in the next minute. Who is this for and why are they here, right? This is going to determine who is this offer for and who it's not, right? Like, second of all, like, here's the thing. In the next 5 minutes or in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to do X, Y, and Z. Who are you and why should they listen to you? How did you stumble upon the strategy that you're about to show them? Part 4, now this is super important. These are 3 things that are going to qualify them, okay? So I'm working on mine right now for my Lean on Laurel program. Lean on Laurel's for you if, 1, you have to have a high ticket offer you want to sell over the phone. You've already sold that offer. Your VA is already familiar with the ads manager. So those are my 3 secrets that are going to qualify them for my webinar, right? And so the meat and potatoes. So as you can see here, I'm building out the meat and potatoes. I'm showing them exactly like what we're going to work on in the program, what the KPIs are. I'm giving them clarity on the work that's ahead of them, right? That's going to easily disqualify people. And so after I show them that entire strategy, I'm going to say, hey, what if over the next several weeks, I was your Facebook ads consultant, where I would launch your strategy for you and tell you everything that you need to know, to get the content that I need in order to place your ads for you, and blah, 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 blah. And then I just go into, here's what Lean on Laurel's like, here's how we're going to do it. And then I sell them. Very, very simple format. A lot of people overcomplicate that. Who is this for? Why are they here? 2, who are you? Why do you have any, relevance in teaching this? 3, what are the things that are going to qualify them? Because we want to be polarizing in those 3 secrets. Like, if you don't have this, you're not ready. If this won't work, right? Meat and potatoes, and then close them. That's it. 7, 10, 15 minutes tops. Because your ideal clients who are ready to buy, remember, they're sophisticated. You don't have to go into a lot of education. You're just like, here's how we're going to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Awesome. Well, I got to go because
you were talking about with Dan Henry.
Say what?
Is that the format you were talking about with Dan Henry? You said you're going to post the video or whatnot.
No, so I was talking with Dan Henry. I was talking about his brochure that he sent after people book a call. I got to go. My Lean on Laurel students are waiting for me for copy calls with my copywriter. Lots of great questions today. Lots of great questions today. Just things to note. Make sure if you haven't gone through the onboarding process, make sure that you know exactly, like, you're doing your calculator exercise, you're going through your troubleshooting stuff, and just check and make it a habit to check the featured section every week, because I put new stuff in there. Hopefully you guys have saw the vault. I added just a new section in the vault, just some videos I found in my Loom account. I was like, ooh, people could probably find value out of this. But anyway, next live call will be the 3rd Thursday of the month. And we have those at 3 o'clock now and moved them up 2 hours. So 3 o'clock Central, and we'll do it again. Have a lot of fun. Great seeing all you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Laurel.